Welcome to If This Bar Could Talk, a podcast about bartenders and the stories they have to tell, as well as the storied history of cocktails, spirits, and bars. I'm Blair Beavers, and here's your host, Leanne Sims.
Andrew Connelly from Ampersand Asian Supper Club. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So we definitely want to talk about cocktails, but I want to start by talking about how awesome the food is at Ampersand. And I know you have a sister restaurant that I've never been to. I think it's called Asterisk
In Westerville.
Yeah,
home of Prohibition.
Oh yeah. So my favorite thing, I think, at Ampersand is the Fungus Amongus ramen. It is the broth is just so rich and delicious. It is just amazing. But so tell us about you. What is your title at Ampersand?
I think I am the bar director now. It definitely switched a few times during COVID. I think that's what we landed on.
And how long have you been in the industry?
Probably since my sophomore or junior year in college. I started as a bouncer at Bar 145 up in Kent.
Okay.
That was a terrible job. But after college, I got a job in an office, and I think I worked that for about 48 hours, and then I got a job at Union as a barback.
Okay. So Union, that's pretty, very high volume bar, right?
Oh, yeah. Very high volume, very high energy. I think while I was there, they sold the most beer in all of Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then where did you go after that?
After that, I went to the Athletic Club of Columbus downtown.
Oh, wow. Fancy.
And that's where you started actually bartending, or?
Yeah, that's when I started bartending. I think a lot of us got hired on there doing various jobs with the promise that they would teach us to bartend. And I'm not sure how many people actually ever got taught. I think I only actually got moved up on the list because I was listening to the Violent Femmes of the time, and the manager liked that.
And when was that?
That was probably 2016 or 17, one of those.
Okay.
So what inspired you to become a bartender?
I like the process of creation.
Mm-hmm.
In the Athletic Club specifically, Jody, who was the head bartender at the time, had a whole cabinet full of just things that she used to make bitters, and that was a really fun cabinet to go through. And then they had a dungeon in the basement that was kind of a wine cellar, and it was full of bottles of old liqueurs that they'd used once and never again. And it was amazing going through all the different bottles, all the different flavors, thinking about what you can make with them.
Oh, wow. That is pretty inspiring.
It's a fun place to check out.
So what made you want to leave Athletic Club?
Since it's a private club, you really get no cycle of guests. And I got tired of making Manhattans. Jody, the bartender who was the head, left before I left. She put out, I think, 3 new cocktails every 3 months. And they were very well put together. And each member maybe tried them once and never again. Not very adventurous palates.
Yeah, that's a little disheartening because you're a creative person. And if people aren't trying your creations, I could see where that would be tough. What is your creative process, by the way? Just finding fun stuff in dungeons?
Oh, fun stuff in dungeons definitely is part of it. Yeah, I guess that actually is it. I always would go through and just open up bottles and smell different things and try to figure out how I'd use them. I got the job at Ampersand specifically because of the shelf that they have. The person who was there before me, Bismarck, he put together an amazing selection. Mm-hmm. That's why I even applied for the job, because that is a place where I can just go and look at random bottles and figure out what to make.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's an Asian supper club, are you working with more Asian forward spirits and liqueurs?
I've tried to bring a lot in. It's also hard to get some of them. Like I have umashu on the menu, which apparently you cannot get imported into Ohio, so I had to make it myself.
And what is that?
That's been true. That is shoju, which has been soaked in ume plums, ideally for about 6 months, although ours is currently at about 3. And even the ume plums are hard to get, especially off season.
How did you learn about this thing?
When I was making the current menu, I wanted to have some actual Asian drinks and not old school ones. I wanted things that were currently popular. I spent a lot of time stalking people's Instagrams downtown in different high streets in Asia, and I would look at the bar menus and pictures behind people taking selfies to figure out what ingredients were being used.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Yeah.
You're like a bartender detective.
I mean, I would try and follow bartending blogs for that, but I would get the same 3 drinks every time, and it was all Midori.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you work with the chef much on the flavors and do you do pairings or?
Oh, we have done pairings whenever he gets a new menu item. We'll swap things back and forth, and I'll try and do a pairing for that. I wish I could say that the food menu and the drink menu there were more closely tied together, but not really. The drink menu is just things I was excited about, and I'm sure his food menu is just stuff he was excited about.
It would be really awesome to have a coursed out menu with a cocktail. I would sign up for that.
Yeah, we've done that a few times. I think mostly just private events for people he's worked with in the past.
Mm.
Okay.
So I know you participated in a cocktail competition recently, which Blair judged. But how often do you do competitions?
That was my first one since the apocalypse.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah, not very often.
Well, that's the first one I've judged since then too. So.
Oh, really? Do you know how active that scene still is?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a matter of rebuilding momentum now.
Yeah, now that people can stay in the same room and actually have their mouths open.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Well, Blair, how did Andrew do in the competition?
He did great. I really enjoyed the cocktail.
Tell us about what you made.
I made something called the Autumn Jacket, named really for my partner. Her middle name is Autumn. It is blackstrap molasses rum, smoked Suntory whiskey, togarashi and Vietnamese cinnamon simple syrup, and then roasted Thai chili bitters.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And as I remember, the heat from the chili just kind of pinched right at the end. It wasn't super strong, but it was there. You knew that there was chili in that cocktail.
Yeah, it was a nice tail, I was hoping.
Yeah. No, it worked well.
Is that something that you created yourself, or did you purchase that? The bitters?
Oh yeah, I made those.
How do you do that?
I took an industrial torch actually, and I charred the outside of the bitters, and then I put them in Everclear with allspice berries, cloves, and I think something else. Steep them for about 3 weeks. The bitters themselves, I use 1 dash for every cocktail. They're incredibly strong. It's great. If you like spice, it's great. I was a little bit worried about giving that out to people in general, because if someone didn't like spice, it could be horrific.
So you mentioned the first ingredient, blackstrap molasses, something or another. What is that?
Oh yeah, blackstrap molasses rum. It's very dark rum from Cruzan. I think underutilized. It's only $15 for a liter right now. It's delicious.
Really?
Yeah,
I love blackstrap molasses. I'll have to try that.
Yeah,
you definitely do.
So what was the criteria that you had to follow for the competition?
Blair, you probably remember it better than I do, but I think the criteria was just you had to use certain liquors laid out by Beam on Suntory, and then no other liquors, and do what you want. It was very freeform.
It was. There was kind of a theme of holiday cocktails. Not everyone really followed that. Not everyone even had fall wintry flavors, but that was kind of the theme, I think.
Yeah, I tried to stick towards that. That drink is definitely not a summer drink.
No, it worked well.
So Beam Suntory, that's a pretty broad portfolio. Did you already have something in mind when you, were you thinking you were going to do rum and chose that rum, or how did that work?
I have used that rum in the past, really just for personal things, and I love it. It's something that, like I said, I think is underutilized, so I was excited to actually put it out. I think it only got featured in 1 or 2 cocktails at the competition. You might remember.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and the Suntory I used because it accepts flavors so easily. It's amazing to infuse.
There were a few people who used that as a split base to include that whiskey of some sort in some way.
Yeah, it's very good at carrying in foreign flavors.
So is our competitions, is that good practice? Is that something that you enjoy, or why do a competition?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it. It's good to get feedback from really all the other bartenders. The best part of the competition for me was the last 10 minutes after all the guests had their drinks. And then people from all the bars I admired were cycling over to my table, asking me about drinks, offering theirs, trading tips.
Fun.
It's a good time.
Fun. Yeah. So Blair told me about your cocktail when he came home. So I know he was impressed by it. Do you ever give somebody a cocktail and then see them go, ugh?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not sure how much you know about the menu at Ampersand, but it's pretty sweet. It's definitely the niche we're trying to fill in the Short North. And if people don't like sweet cocktails and don't pay attention to the menu, they're often disappointed, unfortunately.
So I don't like sweet cocktails, but I feel like if I tell you that, you could maybe pull back on some of the sweetness. Could you not?
Oh, yeah, we definitely can. And there are things that you can get that aren't very sweet or not sweet at all. But we have something called the Talofofo, which is a Guamanian cocktail, and it is full of all of the cash crop juices from Guam. So it's incredibly sweet. And people will get that and then sneer at it, trying to figure out why it's so fruity. It's 4 fruit juices and vodka. Not sure what they're expecting.
So it's not offensive to a bartender if someone says, hey, this looks good, except that I don't want it this sweet, or I don't want it this tart.
Not to me. Not everything is for everyone. And part of the process is being able to accommodate different people.
That's cool. So are you the bar director just at that location, or are you the bar director for both locations?
I'm just at Ampersand. I think Steven Riska is at Asterisk. Okay. And he was right next to me. He had the creamy root beer drink.
Yep.
Ooh,
he's pretty talented.
That sounds delicious.
It was pretty good. It had very interesting texture.
Yeah, there were a lot of great cocktails that night. It was not easy on us judges.
Speaking of which, I actually did not get to see who won because I think I was making drinks for someone. Who took the top 3? Do you remember?
Soul was the winner.
Soul was the overall judge's choice. And I can't remember who the runner-up was now. And Alibi was the people's choice, the fan favorite.
Yeah, I heard good things about them all night.
Yeah. So,
did you get the opportunity to taste anyone else's cocktails?
Yeah, I tasted a lot of them, and I wish I could remember which one went to which bar at this point.
Yeah, it starts to blur after a while.
That's why we
took notes.
I also never had the opportunity to walk around to the tables. These were all drinks getting brought to me. And as the night wore on, the people bringing me drinks were increasingly unreliable.
Yeah.
So I just kind of took what I got.
That's cool. I've noticed that we've seen Ampersand at a few of the cocktail competitions that we've been to. So I think it's cool that you guys participate, particularly because it gives you the opportunity to showcase your bar, because a lot of people might not know, just like our cocktail tour. That's why we do that, to show people that you're there and that you make amazing cocktails. But Ampersand hasn't been there that long. How is business? I know, pandemic, it's hard to know, are we in the pandemic? Are we out of the pandemic? How are things going?
They are not quite where they were before the pandemic, but they're a lot better. We're no longer worried every week about shutting down, which is nice.
Oh, good.
That's good.
I mean, especially during the protests and during the pandemic, I think we worked for 3 or 4 weeks with boards over all the windows and complete dark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was an interesting time.
I bet.
But things have definitely picked up.
Well, that's good.
Things have picked up to the point where we actually are probably now chronically understaffed, which I get the feeling is most places that are still open.
I think so. Yeah.
We're hearing that a lot. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I went through a bunch of people that I used to work with and tried to reach out to them and hire them. And a lot of the people that used to be reliable in the industry during the pandemic found other jobs. I don't know how many of us actually got support by the bars we were working with through the pandemic. And I know it was almost impossible to get, unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So people who had the ability to moved on.
People do what they have to do, take care of themselves. It's painful to see that, because I know we lost a lot of great bartenders to other industries. But it is what it is. So I hope that, we learn a lesson from this and treat people right.
I hope so. And Megan, the owner, she was pretty great in the pandemic. Early on, she passed on all the food that was going unused to all her employees. She offered us money if we needed it. I thankfully had a stash, so I didn't need much of it. But yeah, I got a lot of support from her.
Well, that's
awesome.
Amazing to hear. Good for her. She looks like a sweet person, and I guess she actually is.
She is. She's one of the few owners that I've actually worked side by side with.
It's amazing. So that probably makes you loyal to her then, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And she offers amazing creative freedom.
That's
very
cool.
Little second guessing.
Yeah, that's helpful too, especially when you're, in there trying to give it your best and try to create things that'll be exciting for your clients. It's nice to have the freedom and the support to know that what you're doing is appreciated and accepted. That's awesome.
Yeah, it definitely is.
What is your favorite cocktail to drink?
At this point, probably a Negroni.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a good mix of sweet and bitter.
Is there a particular spirit that you like to work with?
I mean, whiskey is always good workhorse. I got really into gin right before the pandemic. Now I'm finally trying to use vodka and shochu. Previously, I've kind of ignored them since they don't really have much of a flavor of their own, and I didn't think they were that interesting, and I'm trying to walk back on that.
What is shochu?
Shochu is the stuff we have is a barley spirit, but it is kind of shochu is Japanese, shoju is Korean. It's kind of like a lower proof vodka.
Okay. Are you having a lot of requests for low proof cocktails or 0 proof cocktails?
No. I mean, not a lot. I get some mocktails, but it's often people who are pregnant who have not told everyone in their party yet.
Yeah.
So I give them camouflage cocktails.
Yeah, I heard about a new bar that's opening up that only does 0 proof cocktails, which is kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What place?
I forget the name of it.
I don't remember.
But it's here in town, and I think it's either opening soon or has already opened. Yeah.
I know you've had Riley on your podcast before.
Riley Robson. Yep.
Yeah. She's out in California now. And last time she was here, she was telling me she was working in a bar that was mainly working with vermouth because they couldn't get a full liquor license.
Interesting.
Sounds like an interesting challenge.
Yeah.
I love vermouth, all vermouth. So that would be fun.
Yeah.
We've thought about doing a cocktail competition where we pick like the worst of the worst spirits. Like what's Malort?
Hard to work with spirits.
Yeah, difficult to work with. To see just how creative people can get to make it taste good.
That would be fun. I think one of the first cocktail competitions I did with Middle West, and they told us to think of cocktails that we hated making and try and improve them.
Mm.
What did you make?
That was the first one I'd ever done. I don't think I was very creative. I think I did a twist on a French 75.
Nice. What I think most bartenders would say they hate making mojitos. That's what I've heard.
I've made my peace with that. We have something on the menu called the Chi, which is a mix between a mojito and a caipirinha with passion fruit in it. And I make it like 30 times a night. It's just routine now. Long Island's, I think, are one of the worst.
Does sound tasty.
Are there any bar stories that you want to share with us? Do you have anything in particular that?
I remember when I was working at the club one day, you have to enter through the back there, the servants' entrance. You can't go through the front, which is in an alley. And I was stumbling in earlier than I normally was, so I was definitely hungover. And when I looked up at the roof, there was a guy with a rifle looking down at me. For a few seconds, I was worried that I was going to die and realized that in this alley, there was really nowhere to go and I wasn't in running shape anyways. So I just continued on to work. And I think it was Steve Mnuchin who was there that day. And the guy on the roof was apparently Secret Service. And I had not been reading my emails.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. Unexpected.
So what's it like being a dad to a new baby in your industry?
I think for the first year, I was going through sleep psychosis.
That happens with any parent.
Yeah, my partner Turquoise would get mad at me because I would come home at 1 a.m. and the baby would wake up and I would sit and talk to the baby and make faces at her and hype her up. And I had to stop doing that.
So what's next for you? Are you sticking with Ampersand? Are you going to make a career of it? What are your thoughts on that?
I think like a lot of people who are actually serious about bartending, I would really like to eventually open my own space, but I know the cost of liquor licenses and I know that's not realistic anytime in the future.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So do you have...
It'd be great if you could, though.
Oh, it definitely would. I'd be excited about that.
Would you...
There used to be an empty place on High Street that's about the size of a shoebox that I was watching for a long time. I think it was empty for about 2 years, but now it's a barbershop. And I'm guessing because it's the short north, in 2 years it'll be torn down and be high rises.
Or the rent will be so expensive that it'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, completely impractical.
So you definitely want to open a place here in Columbus?
I would like to eventually.
That's cool. What type of bar do you envision? What's Andrew's bar going to look like?
Partially because I was building my mind or my idea around this tiny place. I was thinking minimalist seating as really compact as you could get it and only drinks. There was no room for a kitchen in that space.
Mm.
I like the setup that Bottle Shop has, where they have the partnership with the food truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to live across the street from there, and I would get dinner at that food truck probably 2 nights a week for about 2 years.
It's good stuff.
It is.
So other than not having food, what would you do differently at your bar that you're doing now? Anything?
Much faster rotation on the cocktail menu.
Mm. How often do you rotate yours now?
Right now, the last one was on, I think it was also lengthened because of the pandemic, but that one was on for almost a year, which I was very upset with.
Mm.
The current one's been going for about 3 months at this point, and I'm hoping to replace it at the 6 or 8 month mark.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing seasonal, or what do you want to do?
I thought about doing seasonal, but if I want to have them on 6 to 8 months, that's a lot longer than a proper season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the next menu, I'm trying to look a lot more into how Japanese whiskey is used, because there's not a lot of whiskey on our current menu.
Mm.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to expand that. I want to keep 1 or 2 of the current favorites on the menu, and I think there are 16 drinks. I'm hoping to get around 5, make 11 new ones.
What's your favorite cocktail on your current menu?
The one I'm most proud of, the one I enjoy the most, is called the Nakdong. It's a shochu chuhai made with a house-made roasted mango CBD soda.
Mm.
Yeah, very happy about that.
Say the name of it again.
The Nakdong. Yeah, all of the current drinks are named after trade rivers in Asia.
Oh, interesting.
Whose idea was that?
That was mine.
Very cool.
I love that.
Yeah, the original bartender had drinks that were named things like the Gardens of Hiroshima and the Samurai, and some people were very uncomfortable ordering them. It was interesting.
They were uncomfortable. Why? I don't understand.
I'm not sure. The longer the name is, I've found the less people are interested in getting the drink. If it's a 3 or 4 word phrase, people are not excited about it.
I see. I see. Because do you think they're embarrassed to?
I think they're worried about mispronouncing things.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's mainly it.
That's why I always point.
I want this one.
That's a good move. I always just tell people to bring me what they like.
Yeah. So can somebody come into your bar and just say, make me something sour or sweet and with whiskey?
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I liked about the athletic club is they hosted weddings on their second floor. So every Saturday I would get about 300 new people to experiment with. And yeah, I went through a process of asking people if they want light liquor or dark, if they want it sweet, sour, booze forward, whatever. But I made a nice little decision tree to make a lot of different drinks.
Oh, that's cool.
That's great.
Yeah, that was fun.
So that must have been an interesting place to work, the athletic club. For people who don't know, who are listening to our podcast, it's as you mentioned, a private club in downtown Columbus. It's an old place. I assume wealthy people and a lot of events.
Yeah, fairly wealthy. The whole second floor was dedicated to events. They have a private bar on the first floor, a private coffee shop, a bowling alley with a bar in the basement. I think including the basement and the sub-basement, it's 8 stories total.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's enormous.
So tell us
They have a full gymnasium on the top floor, and once a year they would host boxing matches where they would bring college kids in from all over the country, and they would build bars on the gymnasium floor. That was an interesting time.
Wow. So tell our listeners where they can find you. What are your hours at Ampersand? And tell us about your happy hour if you have one.
My only off days are Sunday and Monday. And Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm there for like 13 hours a day. So you can always find me. Every other night, I'm there after 5. And happy hour is 3 to 6. We have a bunch of like appetizers that are cheaper. The beer is cheaper. The sake is cheaper. And then we have 4 specific happy hour cocktails. One of them that I'm very proud of, the Shinano, is a whole egg cocktail that's based on a tamazaki from Japan.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's Hotel Tango whiskey or hot sake, a whole egg, and then a simple syrup that I made with coffee.
Nice.
It's nice. Tastes sort of like a latte, but Hotel Tango whiskey is amazing. Not very well used in Columbus yet. Hopefully it'll make the move in.
Cool.
That sounds fun.
All right. Anything else you want to share with us, Andrew?
Any other stories?
I remember my first week working as a bouncer at Bar 145. We were trying to clean the bathrooms and couldn't get one of the stalls open. And it was probably an hour and a half after close. So 3 or 4 in the morning at this point? And someone finally climbed the stall and went over, and they found a person draped over the toilet, half naked and completely passed out. And once we woke them up, they just got up, called their friend like if this was a weekly occurrence, and walked out.
Oh,
that was an interesting introduction into the world. That was not something you see every day.
Yeah, I bet not.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
So crazy. So crazy.
Yeah. Or there was the time in the athletic club when they were doing construction and they unearthed a room that was just mirrored walls and a baby's crib. And I'm sure I'm haunted now because I know about that.
What?
Huh?
Like I said, it's a very big building. And it was originally built in, I think, 1912. So there have been lots of different people building and closing up rooms. And there was one that was closed up, who knows how long. But when they opened it, it was just all mirrored walls with a crib in the middle. Hopefully it was just storage, but it's a weird sight to open up.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, that's creepy. It's like a Stephen King novel.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I believe in ghosts, but I definitely tried not to be the last person in that building at the end of the night.
Oh, really? Were there a lot of ghost stories from there?
Oh, yeah, there were a lot of ghost stories, and it is an old building, so lights flicker off and on all the time. And one day I came to work, and in one of the rooms upstairs, they just found a huge puddle of blood.
What?
Yeah, it was a carpeted room, and it was enough blood to sit on top of the carpet, and no one had been notified about it. It was a disturbing amount. Someone had to go to the hospital for this.
Wow.
Goodness.
I think they spent like a week trying to figure out where it came from, and the last thing that had happened, and there was a child's birthday party, and obviously people were watching for injuries there, and nothing happened. So no one knows about that.
Huh. That's crazy. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for being our guest. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule of being a dad and a bartender.
Sorry about the background noise.
That's quite all right.
Not a problem.
But thank you. And we look forward to seeing you very soon on our cocktail tour.
Yeah, I'm happy that that's happening again.
Yeah.
We took a decently long hiatus.
Well, thanks again. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Listeners, please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Seabus Craft Cocktail Tour. Visit our website at columbuscraftcocktailtour.com for cocktail tour dates, women and whiskey tastings, special events, merchandise, and if you're looking for a gift for that special person in your life, get them a gift card to our cocktail tour. Thank you to the biographer for our original music. And please remember to drink responsibly and be cocktail curious. Cheers.